Arthur Sterling, a once revered financial advisor and pillar of this close-knit Ohio community, has been arrested and charged with orchestrating a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme, allegedly defrauding dozens of elderly clients out of their life savings. The charges have plunged Harmony Creek into a state of shock and disbelief, as residents grapple with the profound betrayal that has turned decades of trust into financial ruin and emotional ashes for many of its most vulnerable citizens. Sterling, 62, the seemingly benevolent founder of Sterling Wealth Management, was taken into custody Tuesday morning by agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, at his sprawling lakeside home, a stark contrast to the modest retirement dreams he allegedly shattered. He faces multiple counts of wire fraud, mail fraud, and securities fraud, with prosecutors alleging a scheme that siphoned an estimated $18 million from more than 80 investors, predominantly retirees who had entrusted him with their pensions, inheritances, and futures. For nearly 3 decades, Arthur Sterling was more than just a financial advisor in Harmony Creek. He was a trusted friend, a community leader, and a surrogate family member to many. His office, nestled on Main Street, was less a sterile corporate space and more a comfortable living room, often filled with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the murmur of friendly conversation. Sterling, with his silver hair, warm smile, and folksy demeanor, cultivated an image of unwavering integrity and genuine care. He served on the board of the local historical society, was a generous donor to the annual Harvest Festival, and taught Sunday school at the First Presbyterian Church, where many of his clients were also congregants. He specialized in retirement planning, often touting conservative, long-term investment strategies that promised steady, if modest, returns. His clients, many of whom had known him since he first opened his doors, were drawn to his personalized attention and the comfort of doing business with someone they believed understood their lives and their values. They weren't sophisticated investors seeking aggressive growth. They were individuals who had worked hard their entire lives, saved meticulously, and yearned for a secure, dignified retirement. Sterling often spoke of protecting the nest egg and ensuring peace of mind, phrases that now ring hollow and cruel. Among his most loyal clients were Eleanor Vance, an 88-year-old widow who had invested the entirety of her late husband's pension and her modest inheritance with Sterling, and Robert and Martha Miller, a couple in their late 70s who had entrusted him with the proceeds from the sale of their family farm, intended to secure their golden years and leave a legacy for their grandchildren. These were not anonymous transactions. They were deeply personal commitments, often sealed with a handshake and a shared memory of a community event. The alleged scheme, according to court documents unsealed this week, began subtly more than a decade ago, gradually escalating in complexity and scope. Sterling allegedly promised clients high, consistent returns on investments in seemingly legitimate ventures, such as secure municipal bonds or diversified energy portfolios. In reality, prosecutors contend these investments either did not exist or were grossly misrepresented. Instead, Sterling allegedly operated a classic Ponzi scheme, using money from new investors to pay supposed returns to earlier ones, creating an illusion of profitability and stability. To maintain the elaborate charade, Sterling allegedly generated sophisticated yet entirely fabricated account statements that meticulously detailed non-existent gains. He would hold annual client appreciation dinners at the Harmony Creek Country Club, complete with PowerPoint presentations showcasing impressive and fictitious portfolio growth, reinforcing the belief that their money was not only safe but flourishing under his expert guidance. Some clients recounted receiving occasional bonus checks, ostensibly from unexpected profits, further cementing their faith. The first cracks in Sterling's carefully constructed facade began to appear subtly in late 2022. Eleanor Vance, facing unexpected medical expenses, requested a significant withdrawal from her account. She was met with a series of polite excuses, market volatility, processing delays, a temporary liquidity issue. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, with Sterling consistently deferring her requests. Other clients, spurred by her difficulties or by their own needs, began to experience similar stonewalling. Concern escalated from polite inquiry to urgent worry. The Millers, attempting to fund their granddaughter's college tuition, found their withdrawal request similarly stalled. Their son, a skeptical accountant living out of state, grew suspicious of the vague explanations and the unusually high, consistent returns Sterling claimed. He pressed for original investment documents, which Sterling repeatedly failed to provide, citing proprietary information and client confidentiality. The unraveling accelerated when the miller's son anonymously tipped off the Ohio Division of Securities, which quickly escalated the matter to federal authorities. The FBI and the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, launched a joint investigation in early spring, quietly gathering evidence, interviewing former employees, and scrutinizing Sterling Wealth Management's financial records. They discovered a web of shell companies, offshore accounts, and a lifestyle for Sterling that far exceeded the legitimate earnings of a small-town financial advisor. He owned multiple luxury vehicles, a yacht docked in Florida, and had made significant investments in speculative real estate ventures that consistently failed, allegedly funded by his clients' life savings. The arrest of Arthur Sterling sent a seismic shockwave through Harmony Creek. News spread like wildfire, igniting a mixture of outrage, sorrow, and profound disbelief. Neighbors who had once shared garden tips and recipes now looked at each other with a new, unsettling suspicion, wondering who else might have been entangled in the web of deceit. Eleanor Vance, her voice trembling with a mixture of anger and despair, articulated the devastating impact. "He was like a son to me," she said, her eyes welling with tears outside her modest home. "Arthur always said, 'Eleanor, your money is safe with me. You worked too hard to worry.' Now, I don't know if I can keep my house, my peace of mind. It's gone. It's all just gone." Robert Miller described the feeling as a physical blow. "We trusted him with everything, our farm, our future, our grandchildren's future. He looked us in the eye and lied. It's not just the money, it's the feeling of being utterly foolish, utterly betrayed. It feels like he reached into our souls and just burned them to ashes." Martha Miller added, "We don't know how we're going to live. We're too old to start over. It's a nightmare we can't wake up from." The emotional toll extends beyond financial loss. The betrayal has fractured the tight-knit community, sowing seeds of mistrust and suspicion. Town meetings have been held, often devolving into shouting matches between those who still struggled to believe Sterling capable of such an act and those consumed by righteous anger. Support groups have begun to form, a desperate attempt to collectively process the trauma and navigate the daunting legal and financial challenges ahead. Federal prosecutors estimate that a significant portion of the $18 million allegedly defrauded by Sterling has been spent or lost in failed investments, making recovery for victims a long and uncertain process. Assets seized from Sterling, including his home, vehicles, and various accounts, will be subject to forfeiture proceedings, but these are unlikely to cover the full extent of the losses. During his initial court appearance, Sterling pleaded not guilty to all charges. His defense attorney, Lydia Chen, stated that her client maintains his innocence and looks forward to vigorously defending himself against these allegations. Sterling was released on a substantial bond with strict conditions, including surrendering his passport and being fitted with an electronic monitoring device. His trial is expected to be a lengthy and complex process, drawing national attention to the vulnerability of trusting communities to such insidious financial crimes. As Harmony Creek grapples with the aftermath, the story of Arthur Sterling serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences when trust, painstakingly built over decades, is callously exploited. The ashes of shattered dreams and financial security now form a grim landscape in a town once defined by its harmony, leaving its residents to ponder how and if they can ever truly rebuild.